Welcome everyone to this live transmission on Facebook and YouTube about, well, my favorite subject, light beings, light language, and most of all, I want to share with you how to distinguish between energies of various beings of light. And there is a good reason why I'm sharing this transmission. I want every single person here to be able to create potent activations for themselves and work with energies of various beings in a meaningful way. So let me know whether you can hear me and see me fine. Renee says my favorite subject as well. Absolutely. Renee has attended many of our different courses and events. Welcome from the bottom of my heart and from my Galactic team, because in those transmissions, it's not only just me, it's always me and my team, which you'll meet today. And actually, I want to share a little bit about how we co-create. I want to take you behind the scenes of creating powerful transmissions. Every time I do some light language transmission, whether it's privately with clients or in a group, there's two things that happen. Number one is that I get feedback of how powerful it was, and sometimes it's powerful physically, so people can basically feel the energy right there with physical sensations, even though all of my work is done online. So unfortunately, when I started expressing myself in this way, the world was still under lockdown. The beginning of all this, what happened over the last few years, and I before had another online business, so I always express myself online. And the thing is, I don't even know how potent all that is face to face, because long distance is pretty powerful. And for those of you who haven't experienced my frequency or the frequency of my galactic friends, and in earth beings such as the Lemurians or the Atlanteans or the ancient Mayans, I recommend that you watch some of my transmissions. There's some available on YouTube and on my webpage, and check it for yourself. But usually when I do an activation, there is an instant feedback. For example, I've done an activation in a free light language masterclass a few days ago, and it's just absolutely normal. Then people reach out and say, I could feel tingles, I could feel sensations. You took me home, my heart opened, all of that good stuff. But that's not the most important aspect of light language transmissions and energetic transmissions from galactic beings, because there is another aspect which I want to talk about, and this is precision and very concrete results. And if you're a healer or a coach who is working with energy, that is what matters more. Not just the experience that people have whilst you are transmitting your energy, because sometimes people will feel good, sometimes there's other ways of working with energy, and I want to mention about that. But what really matters at the end of the day is the results, is the transformation, is the healing, is whether lives are changed, whether problems are being resolved, whether obstacles are being shifted. And I understand that energy work for me is really about that. And I co-create between different light beings, not because I am some UFO enthusiast and I think it's cool to talk to aliens, because to be honest, I think I can think of much more normal jobs to do, and I could probably hide all this energy and just keep being a business consultant, which is what I do anyway. But my point here is being a starseed and being a starseed activator. So I co-create with various races. And one of the things that they really want to help us with is making this life experience a lot easier than it is for many people. Because I don't know if you've had an experience of the life being tough. If you're human, you probably did have. At some point in your life, you would have come across heartbreak, you would have come across betrayal, maybe financial problems, maybe a loss of any kind. And of course, all of that is a part of human experience. But we've got potent, really powerful, energetic tools available to make this experience a lot more pleasant, to make our manifestations materialize quicker, and to work beyond matter. Because guess what? Trying to change matter with matter is very slow. And very often, when we work just with mindset, it is like that. When we work just on rewiring beliefs and, affirmations, and it's like, I am happy and abundant, and repeating all of that stuff. But when we don't use precision and when we don't work with energy, then things just take slower, things take longer. And I'm not knocking it, because I feel like it can all be joined together. But my point is, changing matter with matter is a tedious and slow process. And we've had so many personal development tools available, and lots of them are amazing. But we are evolving as a species. We are growing in vibration. And I recently browsed through some of the old books that I encountered years ago, and one of them was David Hawkins' Scale of Consciousness. Probably a lot of you are very aware of this body of work, where different states of consciousness, or kind of like your enlightenment pathway, is being mapped out by certain points. And there is the frequency of love and the frequency of enlightenment, and it's like a sliding scale. Starts with shame at the bottom. And I'm not going to go into details of that, because that's not the subject of today's session. But what I wanted to indicate is that when Hawking was writing this book, what was his opinion was that there was only a very, very few human beings that operated on these really high frequencies. And, all the different commentaries of his works say that enlightenment is only something that Jesus, Buddha, and Krishna attained, and very few people even get beyond frequency of love. I believe that if the author was alive today, he would have seen and witnessed many people who go beyond these frequencies of love and really have highly developed consciousness. And we are evolving rapidly. And this is why it's good to have help from beings that have already gone before us, that have already experienced ascension, really. Ascension, not just on a personal level, but ascension on a collective level, and who have access to frequencies that are shifting us into higher bands, into higher octaves. And this is what I want to share with you today, is just how we can use those energies and how we can distinguish between their energies to make our transmissions, to make our experience even more powerful. Because energy work is an incredible tool which is still underused. We're still developing. And some of us are pioneers of this work. And I see myself as a pioneer of a specific subject within this evolution, which is light language. I research light languages. I speak many of them. And this is the reason why I'm here. I'm here because I really want to bring very, very specific quality to the world of spiritual development, and that is precision. So let me tell you a little bit about myself, for those of you who perhaps have landed on this transmission randomly and never met me. I'm Ria. I am a starseed and light language activator, and I'm the Galactic Polyglot. I basically channel many different light beings, frequencies in the form of sound. I speak many different light languages, and I can also activate this ability in other people. And I know that there are some people here, probably even live, who I've activated in some of my previous transmissions. And I'm the creator of a light language course, which I'll talk to you about a little bit later on. And my mission is to bring conscious understanding and intentional use to light language, and also to bring the galactic extraterrestrial frequencies down to Earth. That's my mission. So let's get into the subject of what we hear for today, which is light beings frequencies. Elaine is asking, is this available anywhere besides Facebook? I don't have sound. Well, you probably won't hear me then saying that it's available on YouTube, but maybe some of you can say in the comment to Elaine that it is available on YouTube as well. We simultaneously streaming YouTube and Facebook. So first of all, I want to explain to you that every race has their own language and a unique frequency. And this is something that we very often just don't distinguish because of how things have been set for a long time. People somehow somewhat accidentally discovered that various beings of light are willing to help us humans in this consciousness journey, but sometimes I didn't have the ability to distinguish between them, or they were just so blown away by the experience they didn't care to distinguish between them. So people have, some others have specialized in one race and have become a spokesperson for one particular race. Like there's many channels who channel Arcturians and Pleiadians, maybe less so for other races such as Syrians, Andromedans. Don't know anybody who channels Lyranadians, and sometimes I feel like I need to take up the job here, or Orions. But in any case, there is basically bits and pieces of this knowledge which we can advance for our own good as people, as humanity, but also for our own personal good. And I'm here to tell you that light language is not one thing. Galactic beings is also not something to be put into one big pot and just call them beings of light of highest vibration. Yes, they have got higher vibration than us humans, but between them, the vibration really differs. And, if you take a Syrian being and a Pleiadian being, if you meet and experience their frequencies, you will never mix them up between one another. In the same way as if you see, let's say, a person from Scandinavia and a person from Japan, you will never say that the person from Japan is Scandinavian, even though both of them are human beings, but they look different. They're probably different height, different skin, and different hair color. And it's the same with galactic races. And I feel like, out of respect to various cultures, it's good to give them credit, to actually call them by names. And by the way, our names are a little bit human. So, Arcturians don't call themselves Arcturians. Arcturus is their sun. So, it's the equivalent of us calling ourselves Solarians, where we actually call ourselves humans. Arcturian people, by the way, they call themselves Ahma people, which translates as the unified ones, or the ones. That's in their language. And every single race has their own names as well. But that's not, again, the subject of today's conversation. I'm digressing. But what is important is that they all have their unique frequencies. And they all have their own specialisms. So they are not the same. And if you actually spend time with them, and if you actually get to know them, you will be able to co-create with them in a more meaningful way. And what I mean by a more meaningful way, I mean that you simply need to, well, to get to know the culture. So why it's important to distinguish between the energies of different light beings? Does anybody have any idea why it's important to distinguish between any energies? Do you get experience of distinguishing between energies? Let me know in the chat how you feel about it. Do you think it's just we're getting too advanced here, or that we're actually advancing as humanity, and that's a good thing? Let me know in the comments what you think about that. And I'm gonna have a sip of tea because I've been speaking really quickly. Not as quickly as some light languages might. If I start speaking Orion, I would probably be dead by now because I'll be out of breath. So any suggestions why it's important to distinguish between the energies of beings of light? Well, I've got a few of my own suggestions, and I feel like it's a matter of respect to various races. So to call them by names, but also because the energy is it's so different. It is not the same. And you can actually do a lot of good, but if you apply various frequencies in a well-meaning but maybe not accurate way, you could actually do harm rather than good. And I give you an example. So we've got different unique frequency of, let's say, Syrians and Pleiadians and Lemurians. Beings of light from Orion or the dragons. So what is the difference between those different energies? So if, for example, you needed some confidence and you needed a burst of kind of, this kind of big confidence and persuasion, etc., you could use dragon energy. But dragon energy is very, very strong. If you use it in a transmission with a person who is very sensitive, that might spook them out. That actually might do them more harm than good. They need to be ready for that particular frequency. In the same way as, for example, Lemurian frequencies, Lyran Asian frequencies are very calming. So if you're doing a relaxing meditation, let's say you're doing something to help people sleep. I've done an immersion like that when I've recorded light language for sleep. I've used Lemurian frequency. If I'd used Pleiadian frequency, the effect would be completely opposite. People wouldn't be able to sleep because Pleiadian wakes you up. It's like having a big, very strong espresso just before you go to bed. Whereas Lemurian frequency is more like having chamomile. So if you actually know different frequencies, you can basically, mastery of them comes in. You can wield them like you wield different weapons. And I'm not talking about weapons for damaging, but not everything is good for every frequency. And unfortunately, for a long time, it has been like that because of lack of insight. Well, I'm here to bring a little bit more of this insight. So let me just, why am I even talking about it? How do I know where my light language is coming from? Do we have any practitioners here with us who have light language but not sure of the origins? Because if that's the case, then your job now is to get to know the beings that you channel. And you may be channeling galactic beings, you may be channeling your higher self, you may be channeling the energies of the land or the ancestors of the tribes that were on your land before the Western civilization. It could be any of these reasons, any of these beings. However, it's absolutely crucial that you actually get to know what you channel and where your light language is coming from, because you will be able to create a lot more potent, a lot more powerful, a lot more meaningful transmissions. So rather than coming from a place of randomness and insecurity, where you're not sure what's going to come, don't even have like a mastery of your tool, you're coming from a place of total calmness and confidence, and you're never alone in your transmissions. So how do I know where my light language is coming from? Well, they activated in a very meaningful way. So every time I was connecting with the power of intention to particular races of beings, languages were activating. And this is something that not everybody has the luxury to experience, because many people activate their light languages spontaneously. And then they don't know where this energy came from. I would say that whenever you come across any new energy for your own health and safety, whether it comes in the form of light language, whether it comes in the form of a sensation, whether it comes from a form of channeled message, please use some common sense. Ask and trust the answers. And that is something that I get asked all of the time. Either how do I connect to light beings, how do I contact light beings, or how do I know what light beings are coming, are talking to me, or what it is. Like people not always sure. Something is coming in, and on one hand side, maybe they're a bit flattered that there is some entity trying to contact them, or maybe they're a bit spooked because they don't know where it's coming from. If you're going to take one thing from this whole transmission, is that common sense. Please, 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 whenever something is coming in, treat it in the same way as if someone is ringing your phone or knocking on your front door. What happens when an unknown person knocks on your door or rings your bell? You probably will ask, who's there? Ask the same question if there's a new energy coming in. Who is it? What is it? And another question is, what do you want to do? What do you like? What's your kind of, what is your purpose here? Why are you contacting me? What do you want from me? This will ensure that, first of all, you don't connect with energies that are not even of the light, but also that you get to know before you trust, and especially before you allow something in through your own vessel. And by the way, there is nothing wrong with channeling energies if you know what you're doing. By all means, do it. And most of the energy is available. If you are maintaining your vibrational state, if you're using common sense, there is no harm. There is only good stuff coming in through it. And you'll be anchoring in those higher frequencies. But the more conscious understanding you bring to it, the more time you spend with various beings, the more time you spend not studying on the internet, reading starseed characteristics, but actually going in and hanging out and spending time with particular energies, learning from them, learning the essence, the more you will benefit. And then it will be really simple for you to distinguish what you channel, what starseed origins are your origins. You won't, because when you get to know so many star races, you don't even need to then go to your Akashic records to check your starseed origins. You probably will go for a confirmation, but you will know, because the energy signature will match, because one of those beings will feel really, really familiar and really, really, really good to you. And I have activated every single light language when I was connecting to various beings. So myself and Aaron were connected, say, to Pleiadians. And when we connected to Pleiadians, Pleiadian language activated. When we connected to the Andromedan language activated. Aaron was getting messages. That was my husband, for those of you who don't know him. And I was getting the language. And this is how I first met different beings. But later on, it comes with with just spending time with them. And I've got a big galactic team. Sometimes it feels like going on some kind of rounds around family, where you have to meet every single family member for a lunch on Sunday at least once in a while. But in fact, some of them I create more often with. Some of them I have more connection with, like the Lyranean race and the Arcturians. I use Syrian energy a lot, Lemurian, whereas some energies I use a little bit less. And sometimes it comes in phases. So lately I work a lot with the dragon energy, for example. So you can choose also what is good for you for a particular stage in your life. And the best way is to experience and explore. And even better if you can do it in safe environment. And before you know it, you will be able to tell the differences between different light languages, between different races, between different energies. You'll be able to read a channeled message and know whether this is actually the essence of the race, or whether someone is just filtering it through their own consciousness. So all of these things will be quite normal. And I just want to share with you my mailbox, because one of the things that I do, and one of the reasons I'm here even today, is that for my students who are either members of my membership group, which is called the Quantum Club, or students of my light language course, by the way, new edition starting in just 10 days. I'll fill you in a second, but there is another exciting thing that I'm doing. I spend an awful lot of time listening to light language samples, and I'll continue to offer this service for all of my students. So whenever someone signs up to either the Quantum Club or the light language course, they get my personal contact details. They can send me the audio sample of light languages, and I tell all these languages apart. And this is my last couple of months, between 3rd of June and 4th of May. That's all the samples that I've received. And then that was, between 27th of April and the 2nd of May, because I think the week prior I was doing 2 big activations. So you can see there's a lot of samples, and many people activated more than one. There's more than one, there is more than one attachment there. But what I want to bring to the community, and I want to make it available as a free resource, is a library of light languages, which contains a brief recording and a brief explanation of very specific frequencies of the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, the Lemurians, the fairies. So far, I've recorded 15 different samples, because that's how many languages I speak publicly. I speak others, but they're not all for public use. So what I would say is that this resource will enable people who perhaps are already practitioners to compare those samples to my samples, but also my students that I have activated and have sent me samples as volunteers to contribute to this project. Their samples will be included as well as and clearly labeled as Arcturian or Syrian or Lemurian or other languages. So you guys will have an opportunity to listen to various samples and have a little bit of a taste of what each energy signature sounds like. And if you already channel a light language, or if you're already in contact with different beings, you'll be able to compare. And of course, this is not an exhaustive list, but it's got 15 most famous, most popular races. And for those of you who want to receive access to this free resource, totally at no cost, it will be available forever. It will even be growing. Please drop a comment in maybe capital letters library, because it will be light language library. So if you put library, when it becomes available, which will be tomorrow, we're going to reply to that comment with a link, and you will receive access to all of these samples. Tiana says, you might translate it for the High Council. Can you tell me what my warriors from above are seeing as they come in? Tiana, I'm not sure where your warriors are from. You need to ask. That's my whole point. You need to be asking things like that. Cheryl says, library, I love speaking Chinese light language. Well, Cheryl, as my student, you have to contribute to the library. Please send me some samples, because Cheryl's channels so many, just like me. I really hope that some people can listen to this, not just in my voice, but in other voices. And some students have already committed certain samples, so we'll be adding to it. The library will be growing, and it will be a resource for everybody for the coming months and years to use in case they come across some new energy or want to get to know different races a lot more. So what I want to do is I want to provide that as a free resource. However, for those of you who are not sure how to activate light language, maybe haven't activated a light language, or maybe have but want to really go deep into the light language discovery journey, I've got something else prepared. That's for the serious people who really want to dive deep and bring the frequencies of various light beings down to earth and really supercharge their transmissions with knowledge and with precision. As I've already mentioned, I'm a creator of the Light Language Advanced course, and many of my students are here today on this live. And the course focuses on 5 key aspects of being a professional light language practitioner, but it's also an amazing resource for those of you who are coaches, healers, or just open-minded individuals who want to expand their spiritual abilities. You will receive an activation, so your own languages will activate. We'll go into understanding, because yes, light language can be understood. It's something that can be translated, and beautiful ladies such as Cheryl and Renee here on chat are witnesses as participants of various practical exercises that I've conducted in previous editions of the course, just how precise the translation sometimes can be, and how amazing it is when we actually decipher the precise meaning between messages from beings of light. And as I mentioned, practice is another part. Yes, practice, precision, and expression, because there's also going to be various activations included that will unlock your expression. Because something that happens hand in hand with activating light languages is a growth in your expression and authenticity. Any blocks around throat chakra, any blocks around your message resonance, they melt away or in the course of this journey. It's something that I've experienced, and it's something that I witness in my students, that they're coming out of their shells, whether it's with the light language or completely in a different area of their lives. I can see expansion, I can see growth, I can see more courage as their own expression opens and blossoms. So as I mentioned, activation, we activate one or more of your light languages. And lately in my activations, people activate multiple light languages. Some activate just one, but more and more as we're growing as collective, I am receiving samples from people who activate more than one. And that used to be a complete phenomenon a couple of years ago when I first started doing these kind of activations. When someone activated 3 or 4, I remember one of my first courses, there was a lady who activated 5, and I was flabbergasted. It was incredible because it was so rare. Well, now it's becoming more and more and more common. Next thing will be precision. We'll discover exactly what I talk about here, and which I haven't got space to do in one Facebook Live, which is unique energy signatures of various light languages. So we go through all of them and how to use them. You will hear me talking them, you will hear other people talking from the group, and you will discover exactly which precise frequency is good for what, and you will know exactly what it is. You will grow an understanding of what is light language, but also origins of your own light languages, because you will get access to me. I will diagnose where your light language comes from. I'll give you personal feedback. So it's not something that I palm off to some coach or whatever. No, it will be my personal feedback. I answer every email from every student with any audio samples. And that support continues. It's not just for a month. I've got students who unlock new light languages, let's say 6-7 months down the line from the first activation. So they've had 1 or 2, and then let's say number 3 or 4 activates further down the line, or sometimes number 7. And then they send me samples, and I very often help them confirm where they come from. We'll be practicing, and this is super important for those of you who are practitioners who want to use it as a part of the sessions. Like Cheryl says, I use it when I do my Reiki, or when if you are a coach, because it doesn't have to be for healing. It can be for activation. I don't use light language for healing. I use it to activate people, to deactivate stuff, to deactivate certain grids, outdated templates, to anchor in higher realm frequency, so people shift into abundance, people shift beyond the traumas. There's so many uses of it, and we're going to go in depth to all of it, and we're going to practice that. And finally, expression. You will experience deep shifts during the coded transmissions and in the course of this program. This is not just a feel-good feeling for the minute of transmission, and you will receive codes of divine expression, codes of message resonance, so that your message carries further, and other guided channeled activations. There's codes for abundance. There's codes that I do on request when I'm doing live sessions. So you will have access to all of that. So just to sum it up, by the end of the course, you will activate your ability to channel light languages, discover origins of various light languages and the unique energy signatures, learn how to use various light languages, power in your healing or coaching business, learn how to receive and transmit consciousness technology, and rewire your field during potent channeled energy transmissions. And that is not all of it, because until midnight tonight, so for next few hours, we have a very special bonus, which is very much connected to what I mentioned in terms of precision on how to get to know various light races. A couple of, I think it was a month ago, we held a beautiful full-day event for my membership group, which is called the Quantum Club, and it was the Starseeds and Airseed workshop, where we brought various energies of various light beings. So people connected to each single one of them, one by one, by one, by one. So they received activations, but they also got to know these beings really intimately. And that trumps anything you can read online. You experience it, and all the energies are retained within those recordings. It literally is a full-day event, so there's about 7 or 8 hours of recordings divided by to 4 or 5 modules. Today, I want to gift this workshop to every single person who joins the light language course as a whole package, because you will then also be able to anchor in those frequencies to distinguish, to deepen your knowledge and deepen your understanding. So just to sum it up, if you sign up to the light language course, you will receive over 30 hours of training, my ongoing personal support in a private group, access to my private mailbox for personal feedback on your light language sample, multiple channeled activations. And we've got an offer until the beginning of the live sessions, because there will be 4 live sessions here. There will be in 23rd of June, the Discover Unique Energy Signatures of Light Languages. The 7th of July, there will be a light language activation. So I'll be doing a live activation. I'll be bringing all the energies in so that your own language of light can activate. Then will be a Q&A and coaching session. So any of your questions will be answered. And then number 4 will be upgrades to understanding and live practice, which will be in August. So these will be spaced over 2 weeks period. But apart from this, light language course is already got 20 pre-recorded sessions. So you can literally binge on it and deepen your understanding. It is the most comprehensive, course on the matter of the galactic beings and light languages in existence. I literally don't know anybody who speaks as many languages as I do, who can tell them all apart, activate this ability and add star seeds very quickly and efficiently, tell their origins apart, and also understand what they channel. So if you want to learn all of that, this codex, this body of work that I'm creating is yours. And you get my personal support, you get all of my passion and all of my love, and early bird bonus for the next few hours, which is the Starseed and Earthseed workshop recording, so you can all exercise that. So for those of you who want to join, I want to drop the comment with a link. So you can read on a little bit more about the light language course. You can read on a little bit more about the what's on offer, what you will learn, and all the exciting stuff. I can see some of my beautiful former students saying the light language course and class is fantastic, definitely worthwhile. Working with Ria is amazing. Thank you so much, Cheryl. You're always a pleasure to work with. And Cheryl will be a part of it, because all of my students that have already gone through the light language course in the previous editions get access to all of the new content, which is really a win-win situation. Because if you enroll, you get access to any future updates, and light language course has been updated already 3 or 4 times. And you also will get access to beautiful, mature graduates who are practitioners, who really kick ass. Shelley Wasitki said the course was life-changing for me. It's not only helped me my healing practice, I've opened and shifted in the most beautiful and unexpected ways. I'm more in tune to my quantum. This course will be one of the biggest assets you can add to your spiritual toolkit. I can't recommend it highly enough. Thank you so much, Shelley. I can't recommend Shelley highly enough. Shelley is incredible animal communicator and healer, and she's an Andromedan starseed, and she channels Andromedan language, which is brilliant for these purposes. So if you want to rub shoulders with amazing people like Shelley, like Cheryl, like Renee, who channels 9 different light languages, join us in this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful program in this galactic vessel, which is the light language course. You can click on the link in the comments, and you will be able to find out more. If you have any questions, Red is saying ready for the new course. Red is our support team, and she will help you if there's any technical difficulties or any issues. There shouldn't be any, but she will be alongside me supporting this beautiful new group. So if there's any questions regarding the course, the galactic energies, the different modalities that we can use to anchor in higher frequencies, I've got a bit of time, and I welcome any questions you may have. Just a reminder, tomorrow the Light Language Library is also premiering in. So for those of you who want to have access to all these samples of various light languages, you can comment library, and as soon as it's ready, Red will send you a link. But if I don't see any questions, I want to love you and leave you. And once again, the beautiful, beautiful Starseed and Earthseed workshop recording is up for everybody who will join the light language course until midnight tonight. I think it's midnight Mountain Time or maybe LA time, but you'll see on the timer on the website. And this potent transmission, this full day event will be yours together with the light language course, my personal feedback, and beautiful support over the next coming months as you expand your various quantum abilities. I'm sending you lots of love. I sending you lots of light, and I will see you shortly.